president of Justin's Nut Butters and now One Brands, Peter has helped companies reach their potential, and he's achieved those goals while remaining true to who he is and how he believes a CPG business should be operated. Today, he's going to share the principles that have governed his career growth and how he's used those tenets to guide brands to the next level. So please welcome Peter to the stage.
Good morning. Good morning. Much better, much better. Thanks to Project NOSH for having me speak. I love doing this kind of stuff and sharing some experiences that I've had throughout my not long, seasoned career. I've been in CPG for essentially my whole life. Started at Procter & Gamble right out of college, selling femme hygiene products. So great entry into the big CPG world. From there, had the great experiences of meeting and working with a lot of really great people. Some great brands, Celestial Seasonings, Justin's, and my current business, One Brand. So I'm going to share a little bit of not groundbreaking information with you today, but it's just my experiences relative to culture and what you need in order to grow a good business. So with that, culture, as a definition, is really about beliefs and behaviors from a management company and a management team and employees that affect how you do business. That's what culture is. In order to get culture in early stage companies, it usually comes from founders. So I've had the privilege to work with some great founders, Mo Siegel at Celestial, Todd Wolvison at Izzy, Justin Gold, obviously, at Justin's, and my current founder, Ron McAfee. So the early stage companies get their culture usually from their founders. And their founders have the belief and the energy, and everybody's doing everything and participating, and it's a great place to be, usually because you're winning in the marketplace. So that's where I come in, because things change. So I come in usually when the business is scaled, the entrepreneur founder wants to exit or to move on in a different role, and I hook up with the private equity groups to take the brand and the company to the next level. So when you're coming in as the new guy and you realize that things are going to change, you have to do a couple things. First off is you have to embrace the culture that has been there, and you have to appreciate it. Mo started Celestial Seasonings in 1969, picking weeds, smoking some, putting them in Muslim bags and selling them in corner grocery stores, right? Justin, a 12-year overnight success, making almond butter and peanut butter at night and working as a waiter. So Ron McAfee, my founder today, 18-year overnight success at One Brands. So when I come into an organization, there's a few things that I do. I get everybody together, and I share my beliefs and behaviors and determine and help shape the next culture wave with the appreciation of what's happened already. So with that, cultures are defined in two ways. There's a winning culture and there's a losing culture. And anybody who tell you different, I'd love to have the argument. There aren't many people that say, boy, we really get along really, really well. It's a great culture, and we're getting our ass kicked in the marketplace. That doesn't happen often, right? So when I get everybody together, these are the things I talk about, and it sets the stage for how we win. Because if you win, your culture's positive, energetic, and you're getting stuff done. So this is what I tell, and these are the same 3 slides I've used 5 different times, and they've held true. So do a few things exceptionally well. Make sure you're communicating what those are to everybody. It's not just your management team, it's everybody in your company. Don't have a list of 15 things, have a list of 4 or 5 that you're going to do all the way to bright. Step change will occur, extraordinary teamwork, focus, and discipline. And then people will make the difference. I am a huge, huge people person. So the first thing I do when I come into a company is make sure that I assess the people and the talent. I want everybody to stay that has been there and wants to be there. At the same time, I'm going to bring in folks that I've worked with before to have major influence upon the company. So I usually bring in head of sales, finance, ops, marketing. Some I inherit, some I bring in as my own team. But they are really the folks that are going to help you establish your culture downstream because they're the leaders of their functional areas. What I do after that is I get into a little bit of business philosophy. It's so important, in my view, to have the CEO of your company relatable, to be a real person, to understand how they think. And everyone who is in a company that has got a private equity investment or been acquired, the first thing they want to know is, what's going to happen to me and what's the new guy like? What's he expect? What does he want? And it's okay to tell him because it's not going to be for everybody. But you need to make sure as a CEO that they understand how you think. So from a business philosophy standpoint, here are the things that have kind of rung true, to me. Obviously, the first one being teams win together, lose together. I have no tolerance for personal agendas. We're all there to do a job. I'm not going to do your job. You're not going to do my job. So a lot of it is roles and responsibilities. And as a CEO, your role and responsibility is to drive the culture. Worst place to view the world is from behind your desk. Love that one. Get out in the marketplace. Tell your people to get out in the marketplace. Take them out into the marketplace and show them what's going on. Another big one that most folks who have worked for me before know that if you show up to play every single day, you're going to win your fair share. I still believe that today. I don't care what the size of your company is. As a CEO, I want to be visible. I want to be in front of customers. I want to be on the operations floor. I want to go to marketing meetings. I want to be involved, not to dictate, but to understand and to show the people that are working for you that you care and you understand. So that's a little bit about the business philosophy. The other thing that folks, I think, want to know is, what's your personal philosophies? And these are mine. And I'm not afraid to tell everyone in our group that these are the things that we want to work towards. So I love building high-functioning teams and businesses. It's the greatest thing in the world. When you've got the right people in the right box and you get the wind behind you, there's nothing better. Hard on issues, soft on people. Like I said, I'm a big people person, but there are issues that we're going to have to solve and knock boots on a couple times, and that's okay. But just know that I'm in it the way that you are. Nothing kills an opinion like a fact, one of my favorites. How's business? We're crushing it. Oh, okay. How does one define crushing it? So these are the things that you begin to instill into your organization. And if they get to know you as a person and as a founder, and they know that you care about their job, and you talk to them and you're relatable to them, they're going to follow you. And if they follow you, you don't necessarily need the best and the brightest. Newsflash. You just need people who get it, who get you, who understand what you're doing, and they will follow you. And chances are, the results will come in the right way. So there's nothing revolutionary here. I think the biggest thing I'd tell you all is to communicate. Be visible. Be visible. Know people's names. I worked at Celestial Seasonings and ran that place. Mo hired me in 1992 after I left P&G, started my own business, went bankrupt, declared Chapter 11, got married in the same year. Don't recommend that for anybody. Mo hired me in 1992 as a sales guy in Boston. And then in 2008, I'm the CEO sitting in that office, right? So big culture guy, and it had a real appreciation of what he did and what he built. And I learned a lot from him and from others. But the most important thing is be a human being. Know their names. 250 people, I knew their names. I knew who their sports team was or what they did on a weekend or a hobby. That means a lot to people. And if they know that you care and that you're on this mission together and that you're the same guy that you are that is in the big seat in the big corner, people will do a lot for you. They will follow you. And when they follow you and everybody's moving in the same direction, things work really, really well. So I've been incredibly lucky along the way. And culture too, like being a parent, especially in today's day and age, you have to discipline a little bit. So perfect example. I'm at Justin's and I'm the new guy and I bring everybody together and give them this speech, and it's a bunch of young millennial people, great people. And I'm just noticing that people are coming in with wet hair at 10:30 and leaving at 12, and there's dogs in the office, and I mean, it's like a shit show. And I didn't quite know what to do. And everyone at Justin's had equity in the business. Justin was incredibly generous with that. So I flipped the script from a culture standpoint and said, look, we're all shareholders of this business. We're the ones who own this business. So if we want to be good, then we can continue to kind of operate this way, everybody going in their own direction. If we want to be great, the office opens at 8 and closes at 5. So let your conscience be your guide. So everybody gets in line for a few weeks. By the way, our office had a bar in it. Well, that's another discussion. But 3 weeks everybody behaves, and you got to bring them back in the office and say, look, people are leaving early. People are, not staying late. What do you want to be? This is who I told you we were going to be. Where do you want to fit? Where do you want to participate? Some folks left. Some people came back. But building culture is fun. And if you're not winning in the marketplace, it's tough to have a good culture. Really tough to have a good culture. That's all I got. This for you?
Yeah, we're going to come sit and chat for a little bit.
Oh, yes.
We have a lot of emerging brands here with maybe first-time CEOs or founders. You have really strong opinions on how companies should be run. Looking back on you 10 to 15 years ago, were you as confident in these beliefs? How as a young founder, young leader, can you develop these tenets?
I think it comes with experience, but it also comes with being genuine and who you are, right? And as a CEO or a leader of a company, they're going to cue off of you every single day, especially in a small company. So if you're having a bad day, you're moody, something's going wrong, your whole team will perform as you are, every single day. So I mean, with young entrepreneurs, I tell them to keep believing, stay positive, be supportive in every single way, and you can't have a bad day. You can, and you're going to, but you can't let it show, because there's only 10 or 12 or 6 of you in the whole place, and if 4 of you go to sleep, you're at half capacity. Not good.
Well, speaking of half capacity, you mentioned that company culture is so key to actually seeing, sales results, and that the two are tied together. And I don't think that's naturally something people think about. They think, oh, it'll help me with retention or attracting new talent. But can you talk about how those two are intertwined closely?
Sure. I mean, look, we all go to work. We're all going to be working for a long period of time. If somebody's going to work and it's a grind every single day, then you've got the wrong place. What people want is they want to know what's expected of them, how they're valued, what their job is, how they're incentivized, how they get paid. And if you lay those things out to them and explain to them what you're doing, you'd be amazed at how they go, oh, okay, no one's ever really told me that before. They also need to know that you're in it with them, right? So when you go into small companies and you do incentive structures, for an example, right? It's usually, well, the management team has theirs, and they're always going to get paid because it's management. And then you've got the the field people and the worker bees over here. I go into these small companies and say, it's all of us, every single one of us. It's going to be about sales, revenue, profit, and if we rise, we all rise together, and if we sink, we sink together. So, it makes sense, right? Because you look at the culture of a winning sports team. Usually, it's because they know what they're doing, they know where they're going, their role, their responsibility, right? It's kind of common sense.
Well, I find it interesting. You had two slides. One was your business philosophies, one's your personal philosophies. Sometimes that can be hard to separate those two things out. How much are those intertwined? Because they really, they are deeply personal for you, both of them.
Yeah, they're not for me. Look, if you're telling me that you got to go and change the culture at IBM, good luck, right? But in a smaller company, I think it's important for them to understand who you are as a person, who your values are. You're not sharing, intimate, details of your personal life, but they do need to know how you think and what you value and what you want the value and the mission of your company to be. Because, like I said, it's not going to be for everybody. Some of these entrepreneurs who are going to have success are going to get to a point where they go public, they get a private equity investment, and then things change. Well, how do you keep the best of the past and have growth and profit move forward? And the way that I've figured it out is just tell them what we want to do, show them the plan, and keep communicating the plan. Have all company meetings, sit in on a third shift operation, and go on the floor and pack tea boxes for 4 hours. You'll learn a lot about your company, and they're not shy. They will tell you what's working and what's not. And if you can give some of that back. When I first got back to Celestial, I was in the cafeteria at 6:30 one morning, and our cafeteria lady is dumping coffee, the big urns of coffee, just dumping it down the drain. I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, well, no one buys coffee. I'm like, well, why don't they buy coffee? Well, we charge 50 cents a cup for coffee. I'm like, well, we're a tea company. We give tea away, right? So sent out a memo to everybody, free coffee from now on. You would have thought that tripled their 401k, contribution. But it's that little stuff, and you learn that stuff by being in touch with your company. Know who your people are. Know their names. Know everything.
Some of these principles I can imagine, and you touched on this a little, it's not for everyone. And I think that can be scary for a founder who has someone that's been with them, been in the trenches, and then someone comes in and says, well, I'm doing this, this, and this, and that person says, it's not right for me. Mm-hmm. How do you, when you come in, address those situations? Like if this person is really key to the company culture, has been there for a while, but you guys just don't mesh up.
Well, at the end, it comes down to performance and contribution, right? So I go out of my way to make sure that all the folks who are employed have a place and are fairly evaluated on what they can and can't do. But at the end of the day, it is about scaling and going to the next level. And it's tough for entrepreneurs to have that conversation, and everybody has them. Well, Johnny's been with me for 10 years, and we've tried to put him in different places. He's not the fit. We're not sure what to do. And that's when, as a CEO, you have to sit down and say, hey, listen, this isn't going to work. And it's okay. We'll help you transition to something else. But sometimes, those are the things that happen as you grow.
How much, when you come in, though, do you observe versus, come in and just start making changes?
I make them right away without even talking to anybody. No, I'm kidding.
I was like, I don't even know how to respond to that. Oh, God.
No, that's the biggest thing to do, right? So I'm a Boston guy, so I have a quick trigger usually. But advice that I received long ago was, look, the first thing you do, the first 30 days is you observe. Just observe everything. Take notes. Don't make any big decisions. right? At the end of that 30-day observation, you got to make the hard decisions, all of them, in probably the next 60 days, because it's a results-oriented business, right? I'm a big people person, but at the same time, you got to be delivering, and you got to be making sure you're hitting your numbers. But you have to evaluate people. And if you come in and you go, okay, I'm smarter, you're smart, and you start whacking people out, that's a problem. For big CPG companies, that's the advice that I give them when they buy a company. Think about it. Somebody comes in and they say, okay, you're a small company, and we just paid $300 million for you. And what we're going to do is we're going to change that, like day one, because we're smarter and rewrote the check. So in several situations, I've given folks advice of, don't touch it. Just, it's working. You spent a crap ton of money on it. Leave it alone, right? Observe, and then come in and make the necessary changes that you need to make. I know what a small company needs. They need systems and operations help and all that stuff. But don't come in and say, well, this is the way XYZ does it. Because let me tell you, you want to talk about your culture going to hell in a handbasket. That's one way to do it.
When you finish your observation period and start bringing in some of those people that you've worked with, like they need ops help or finance help, and you bring them in, how do you integrate those people in so that it's not, old timers versus the new guys sort of feeling in the office?
I'm fortunate because I've worked with most of my functional heads before. So it's a benefit that I have. So my sales team, Hunt Killer runs my sales team. Hopefully he's watching in Colorado. If he's not, I'll fire him. He's worked with me at Izzy and worked with me at Justin's, and now he's with me at One. So he gets how I think and how we think as a team. So he translates that to his department and his sales area, right? So if we've been paying attention to each other, he takes the same approach. So he is the new sales guy. He wants every salesperson to have a seat. He's going to observe. He's going to make changes and have some good discussions and have some tougher discussions. But the best thing is there should be, hopefully there's a seat for everybody, but in some cases there isn't, and you have to make those calls too. But we all think, weirdly, kind of the same.
Well, I think, and it does say a lot about the cultures you've built, that you have this team that follows you and says, I'm going to go to your next project.
Yeah, it's fun. It's really all about the people. My job is to make sure that I make them incredibly successful. I work for them. It's a reverse pyramid for me. I know what my job is. I don't have to try out. I'm the CEO. Great. How do I make you successful? And how do I make you a contributor and you a believer in my business? Because if I do that across 10 people or 250 people, the business is going to do very, very well, and the culture is going to be fun.
Well, I think you might have some resumes winding up in your inbox later today. But with that, we're going to continue the discussion about scaling businesses with our next speaker. But thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Appreciate it.
Good to see you.